we can say that dopamine, when elevated above baseline, tends to increase states of motivation, both mental and physical motivation, drive, and to some extent, focus. Epinephrine and a closely related molecule called norepinephrine, and again, I want to emphasize that epinephrine is adrenaline and adrenaline is epinephrine. Norepinephrine is noradrenaline and noradrenaline is norepinephrine, but today we're going to just simply talk about epinephrine and norepinephrine. That category of neuromodulator is mainly responsible for generating our energy, our level of fuel and baseline level of forward center of mass, as I like to call it. When epinephrine levels are high, we tend to feel agitated. We tend to feel like we want to move. We tend to feel like we can't shut down our thinking and our anticipation of what's going to happen next. And when epinephrine levels are very, very low, we actually have less physical energy. We tend to have less mental energy in terms of generating thoughts very quickly, and so on and so forth. Now, the neuromodulator serotonin creates a number of different states in the brain and body, but for sake of today's discussion, we're going to think about the predominant states that it creates, and those are states of contentness, being happy, feeling fairly relaxed, feeling soothed, and to some extent even some relief from pain or lack of pain. Serotonin is associated with a feeling of satiety, of having enough of what we already have. And acetylcholine, we can say, is mainly associated with states of focus. And we can go a step further and say that it's mainly associated with steps of focus as they relate to learning and encoding new information, so-called neuroplasticity. So let's say you want to be more motivated. You want to be more in pursuit of goals, and you want to have more energy and to be more focused. There are many ways to go about that. In fact, there's a near infinite cloud of opportunities, everything from prescription drugs to illicit drugs, which I certainly do not recommend, supplements, nutrition. You can listen to particular music. You can do all sorts of cognitive, behavioral, nutritional supplementation tricks. Or you can just understand that what you're really after are increases in dopamine above baseline that you control. And there are ways to control them that are quite potent. And science tells us which tools are going to be the most potent and the most versatile for you. So I'm going to share those tools with you now, with the caveat that each one of those tools could be its own entire podcast episode, and that we've done near entire episodes on each of these tools or small collections of these tools. So I'm going to cover these in somewhat superficial manner. Let's say you want to increase dopamine for sake of increasing motivation. The first thing to do is to understand what the natural behavioral tools are for increasing dopamine and to do those as consistently as possible. Again, these are tools that you'll want to do nearly every day, if not every day. And I know I'm sounding like a broken record on this one, but here again, we come to sunlight and I should say not just the desire to, but really the need for viewing the maximum amount of sunlight that one can reasonably get, given schedules and locations in the world, time of year, etc., in the early part of the day. Within the first hour of waking, ideally, but certainly in the first 3 hours of your day, you're going to want to maximize sunlight exposure to your eyes. Never look at the sun or any other light so bright that it's painful to look at. And yes, of course, blinking is fine, but no, take sunglasses off, go outside once the sun is out and get some natural light in your eyes. So if you get sunlight exposure to your eyes, and it does have to be to your eyes in the early part of the day, you increase the amount of dopamine receptor that you have, which allows whatever circulating dopamine happens to be there to have a greater effect on motivation. And I should say also on mood and feelings of being in pursuit and generally in craving and pursuit of things in life.